a
But
legend. Like I've never met anyone who's been named after a rugby league team. Like
There you go. Mark it off the list.
you
I mean,
have now.
Red hot underdogs rising tonight. Abs acting true, we bringing the fight. Talk about the game ain't just one side. Whistles blowing, sirens loud wide. Energy pumping, scheming plot. Nothing too small, nothing forgot. Boxing gloves and footy kicks. Sport and no mix in the fist.
has one the Red Hot Underdogs. With guest speaker Connor is going to be after this. I just thought I'd do a quick update on my hand, or fingers, I should say. I went to the hospital on Tuesday, so it's now Sunday. So it's been a while. It's been 2 weeks and a day since my operation, and they took off the cast. My hand was like this, and it was hurting my wrist, it was hurting my back. It was horrible. But this is so much better. I've got these like plastic kind of cups on my fingers. I still have the pins that you can see coming out of these fingers. Yeah, so went to the hospital. They took the cast off, thank God. Feeling so much better. I can clasp things. And they took all the bandage off, which hurts because I don't have fingernails because I ripped my fingernails off, and they rip the bandage off where your fingernails used to be, and it's really sensitive there. So it's horrible. Anyway, so the pins are coming out in 2 days' time. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm losing this one here. And I got stitches out of this one, and this one. It was 14 stitches. In the middle one, I have even more stitches. I don't even know. And that's the one that they're pulling the pin out, but there's titanium that's going to be permanently there. And maybe it will be a bit hard to bend my finger. So it'll be like a bit of this. And a lot of people are mentioning that there was a Seinfeld episode with George, and someone was like this to him or something. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be like, stuck like this. But yeah, been off the pain meds since I've been here. Life is going back to normal. Thank God. Okay, here comes the red hot
Too
underdogs.
small, nothing forgot. Boxing
Let's hit
gloves
this.
and footy kicks. Sport and no mix in the fist.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Red Hot Underdogs. I am Anzac, and this is the Red Hot Underdogs. I said that, didn't I? Geez, I'm going to get it right one of these days. 72 times I've done this, and I still stuff it up. With me tonight is the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, and never duplicated. It's Connor. Put your hands
Hi
together.
guys, how are we? Thank you for having me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast that always lets you down, no matter what your state of origin. And welcome to the man, Mr. Connor Buster Bonanova. For the purpose of the exercise, I think we're just going to call him Buster for this exercise
We
and
can
for this
go with that.
podcast.
Sure,
Beautiful.
Buster.
Sounds good. Thank you guys.
Buster,
All
tell,
agree.
tell us tell us about yourself. I know you got on West Tigers, but what sports are you interested in, and teams, and you know
Oh, well, mostly NRL and football, so soccer, as some would say.
uh,
Only two sports I really do watch. All
yeah,
the other ones bore me, to be honest.
yeah.
There's either too many timeouts, say in America, or yeah, tennis and stuff. Does nothing for me, but NRL and football do something for me.
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about soccer much, but we do a bit. But tell us about
Yeah.
how'd you get into rugby league? Just a second. How did that happen?
Oh,
Why Tigers?
as soon as I come out the womb, my
Yeah.
whole family was Tiger supporters. And
Yep.
my middle name's actually Tiger. My dad made my middle name Tiger. So I didn't really have a choice to be put through this pain for the past 24 years. But hey, we go on with it, and we deal with it. And there's been ups and downs, and hopefully a couple more ups in the future.
Yeah,
But we'll see what happens.
it's looking up for
I-
Tigers. And look, is that a good? Do you want to start on the Tigers and the Galvin, Drewy? Like,
Yeah, I think so. I'm actually glad that Buster mentioned that his
yeah,
middle name was Tiger, because if he didn't mention it, I sure as hell would. Now, if you're not going to be a Tigers supporter after that, I don't know when you're going to be one. So,
if
Exactly
it's
right.
Tiger, not Tigers,
Yeah,
you're
Tiger.
just
Yeah,
Tiger, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
have
So
a hard
shout out to the man Nico Bonanova, who was the
Nico
one who
Bonanova.
fired the shots, which allowed good old Buster to be here today.
What a
But
legend.
Exactly.
Like I've never met anyone who's been named after a rugby league team, like
There you go. Mark it off the list.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
have now. I think we will get into the Tigers situation. I'll just
yeah,
quickly run off a few NRL scores just to
okay, yeah,
begin with.
okay, yep.
Yep.
Dragons 20 beat the hapless Knights 6, another loss for the Knights. The Storm 28 beat a spirited but once again beaten Titans 16.
Yep.
Cowboys 32 beat a rampaging Tigers 28. Now, I say rampaging because they were down 32-6.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you would have been happy with that one, Buster.
Ah, yeah, a little bit, but hey, I think we'll get into that a bit more later. We'll go
Yeah,
into
let
depth
him get
about
off.
how that happened.
3 or 4
Yeah,
tries in 14 minutes.
Oh,
Like,
it was, yeah.
crazy pace.
Was it 4 or 5 unanswered tries to him, and I thought, hey, we're gonna go along with it and get it done, but yeah, just fell
Yeah.
short, unfortunately.
well, it was one of those things where, like if the game kept going, they would have won. Like
Oh, definitely,
longer
Yeah.
game than 80 minutes.
yeah, hundred
Well,
percent.
Another 10 minutes and the Tigers would have won that. Unfortunately, the game of rugby league does not run for 90 minutes.
Exactly
If it
right,
had
Drew.
it, would have been a coulda, shoulda, woulda. But
yeah,
anyway, the mighty Eagles
The
30 beat the very struggling
the
Brisbane
Eagles,
Ponies 6.
the Eagles.
Sounds more like a seagull, but anyway. Uh, still
Well,
our Warriors 36 beat the Rabbitohs 30. Now the Warriors, big surprise packet of the year for me. I wasn't expecting them to go this well.
yeah.
And
Very
Panthers,
dangerous,
yeah, they are.
very dangerous team.
Panthers crawled off the bottom of the table. Who would have thought they would have been at the bottom of the table this late into the season? But 18-10 against the Eels.
Yep.
And finally, the last one, Raiders 26 beat the Roosters 24.
What a game that was! If you guys got to watch that,
I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Was it?
oh
I mean, obviously a field goal at the end, was it?
no, I think it was just Raiders were up by 2 tries or
I
8 points,
think
I
so.
believe. And
Yeah,
then Roosters scored late, and that 2 point deficit just they couldn't get it done. Exactly like the Tigers, I think a bit more time, and Roosters could have got over the line as well.
Did Canberra win by 1 or 2?
2, I believe.
Yeah, listen,
2?
say field goal.
yeah, it was by 2 points,
Okay, all right.
26-24.
All right,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
I must have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that was game of the round for the fans.
Yeah, I agree too. I think it was a really good game. High intensity and lots of drama.
And you
Yes.
forgot to mention Blues winning, but we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm only going to touch on the Blues lightly. We don't really need to go into it too much because we got Buster here to talk about the mighty Tigers. So
Yeah.
New South Wales 18 beat Queensland 6, despite being a really die-hard Blues fan. I've even got two blue eyes, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I think that the score kind of flattered Queensland. New South Wales couldn't hit the side of a barn door as far as goal kicking was concerned. They
Oh,
1 from 5.
definitely.
4 tries to 1. It pretty much spoke for itself. I think New South Wales' defensive line caused Queensland extreme headaches because their light speed was extremely quick. And I think for next game, I think Queensland might be well served, possibly bringing Grant in off the bench so it doesn't blunt his attack. Just my opinion, and maybe bring in Corey Horsburgh.
I think they need a new 16 players except for Jeremy Nana. I think Dewey is poor performance up there at Suncorp.
Yeah, you might have a point there. And look, to be honest, and Haas and Lomax were absolutely massive for the Blues, and I thought
Yeah.
Cleary and Moses combined well. I don't think DCE and Munster had their best game, and that would be by their own admission. I actually don't think either side played particularly well. I just think New South Wales played a little bit better.
Yeah.
Agreed, agreed.
What about DCE? So is he going to be picked next time? Because I mean, he smashed it for Manly. His kicking game was awesome for Manly. Does that mean he gets another shot at it, or it's all over for him?
I've got a certain take on this. So, because he's 37 years old, which is uncharted territory for Origin, the oldest man ever to play Origin, I think they
Really?
give him,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, I think they give him the second game. Now,
Yeah.
if they lose the second game, don't be surprised then if they put Tom Dearden in for the third game and then counter him as their future half going forward. Just
Yeah,
my
on Deedon there, when he came off the bench, you've seen a little bit of a more spark from Queensland, which I don't feel like they had all game. And I think, yeah, DCE might be coming to his time in a representative um, matches,
yeah,
sorry. So maybe just stick to the park footy for now, Cherry, and let
yeah.
someone else run the ship.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that as long as he hasn't got long to play with Manly, but for the
Yeah. No,
rest,
I'm fine with that.
it doesn't matter for the rest of the season. He'll be gone next year. But yeah,
And
so
is it 100% he's going to the Roosters? Is that done deal or?
it isn't totally confirmed, but it seems to be the most frequent gossip around the traps,
Give
more
it a
than
couple
any other
months.
team that's talked
Tigers
about.
might throw a bit at him.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, Luai and Cherry Evans, you could do worse, even with the Twilight Cherry Evans.
Yeah.
Very right.
He'll be
So
good for a year. He'll be good.
yeah. So I want to talk to Buster about the Tigers
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's
let's get to it.
primarily what he's here for. I do have a question for him as far as a Tigers supporter is concerned because he knows a lot more about this than us. I would say from a fan's perspective because we're from the outside looking in being Seagulls.
I think everybody knows more than us, Drewy. We're just
Do. Yeah. That's true. At Red Hot Underdog
yeah,
Industries, we sort of
yeah,
get by the skin of our
bottom
teeth,
of the barrel
full
here.
of non-facts and fallacies.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's all uphill from us. You know what I
it
mean?
is. It
That's
is.
not a go at Connor. That's just like that's just where it goes. That's the starting point is here. Of
Yeah,
course. All right.
well,
Yeah.
Buster is the much-needed steroid injection to our podcast. So I just want to ask him one question. As a Tigers supporter, are you disappointed in the loss of Galvin? And what is the general overall feeling do you feel amongst Tigers fans?
Oh, I wouldn't say disappointed. Um, after after the past couple of weeks, I think it affected the locker room a bit, and you could see that in results. Um, and I'm just happy that it's over with. Then he's gone out the door, and we can get on with playing footy because Tigers get the media hammers Tigers without little stories like this anyway. So, um, yeah, in him being a player, I don't think we've lost too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, I think his manager does think his shit don't stink. Sorry for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
language if we can't say that, but
Yeah.
yeah, like if you look at his stats, attacking wise, it looks good. 24 try assists in 31 games sounds great as a half.
Mm.
He's I think 90% tackle efficiency. It sounds good, but when you're watching him, I don't think he actually brings that much to the team.
Yeah, and that was kind of confusing with me why the Bulldogs specifically wanted him when they're coming first. Because for me, it seemed like a case of if it's not broken, don't fix it. Now,
Mm.
he seems to me to be more of an impulse or heads up, eyes up kind of player rather than a game manager. Would you say
Yeah,
that's like a fair assessment?
yeah, agreed. Yeah, I don't think he's a half that would steer the ship. He's more of
Yeah,
that ball running half, and he's shown that he's good at that. But
yeah.
$750,000 a season, good. I'm not too sure yet about that.
Yeah, and that's from the Bulldogs. And the crazy thing is, you guys offered him $1 million or
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was
Yeah,
going to say. You offered him 1 million. Like
yeah. I think with the
that's
manager Isaac Moses, I think bad blood there didn't help us at all. But you'd think the opportunity that we gave Galvin would show some loyalty. But as you guys know, loyalty in this game at the
Yeah.
moment is just out the door.
it's
That's
true.
a lot of cash for someone at 19. At 19, I was just scratching by with my paperboy money. So he's doing particularly
Exactly
well.
right. Yeah,
It's
I
a,
don't
Uh,
think he deserves that much, but we'll see what he does
no.
at the doggies and
yeah,
if they can help him develop better. But what I've seen at the Tigers, I don't think he's worth that much. And mm,
10
Yeah.
years as
So
well.
from what you've seen so far, do you think his talent is worth the hype?
some, yes. Like he never wowed me. It's never like I've watched him and was like, wow, I hope we keep this kid.
Yeah.
Really, all I've seen from him all year is he gets the ball, he either runs or he tries to put a little grubber in behind the defence. And he was actually quite high. He put 48 grubbers in last year, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but he got four forced dropouts out of it. So really, he's just kicking for the fun of it. That he's doing nothing with his kicks. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not just him. Like all the Tigers' fifth option players are just shocking. You rarely see us force a drop out and get the ball back. So I don't know if that's the kicking coaches telling them what to do, or that's just how they kick. But yeah,
Can I just
no good for me.
just
Yeah.
back for a second? So this Lachlan Galvin, right? He was
Yeah,
offered $1 million for 6 years. Is that right? Or 10 years?
Six, I think. $1 million.
yeah.
They
$1 million,
first said five, but later on it came out as six.
6 years, a 19-year-old, and he
Yeah.
said no. And then he's been offered 750,000 a year from the doggies for how many years?
3.5, I believe.
Only two
Yeah,
and
I
a
think that's
half.
right.
Three,
Yeah,
three
yeah,
and a,
yeah.
3.5 year deal for 750 a season.
Mate,
Yeah.
seriously, however you spin this, he's made a
Yeah.
mistake. Like,
Well, yes and no. I mean,
no,
he
no,
could argue.
there's no yes or no here. There's
Wait,
no
wait,
yes
wait.
or no.
Hang on.
It
I'd
doesn't
like to
like
plead the fifth.
no,
My
no.
right to
Well, there's no
speak.
point completing what you're going to say. This is like it doesn't matter whether you're selling a car or a player or some chopsticks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's hundreds and hundreds. There's probably $1 million. I could work it out now. 6 million minus 750 times three. There's millions
Yeah,
difference.
yeah, yeah.
Drew.
Hang on, hang on.
Millions.
But
This is
but
the
sometimes
mistake of the century.
wait,
Okay.
wait, 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 wait. Sometimes though it's more about where a player thinks they can potentially win a premiership. Now, I don't necessarily agree that the Tigers can't, because I think with the inclusion of Luai and Coruscant and they got Royce Hunt and
They're
they've
on the
got
way up.
they've
Whether
got
they can
some
get
good players. Taruva, a very good player. So,
yeah.
but my feeling is that he might feel as though he's got more chance. This was his argument, not my words. His argument was he felt as though he had more chance of developing his game and potentially winning a premiership and having a more successful career at another club, hence taking a pay cut. I'm not saying that's correct,
I
but
got
that's the
that's not a
narrative that
pay
he
cut.
pushed out.
That's
That
not a
was his
pay cut.
narrative.
Millions of dollars is not a pay cut. This bloke has gone is a dead set goose. Seriously, is a dead
Could
set
be.
goose because, like, sure, there's dogs are coming top, but there's
Yep.
potential in tigers, and who even cares? What would you rather, $1 million or a premiership win?
You know what I would have done? Because he's only 19, I think this is the point people are forgetting. He
Man,
could stay there till he's 25, exhaust his contract, get that good money. He's still very young to
yeah,
then move on if the Tigers aren't successful then. But there
Connor,
could be the chance that the Tigers are successful then. So I think I agree with you. He's making the wrong decision. And I think those reasons alone are very good reasons why he potentially probably should have stayed.
$1 million, I'm going to either give you $1 million or a premiership win. What would you prefer?
I think I'm taking the mill.
Taking a
Yeah,
mill.
I think
Who
I'm kind
wouldn't
of
take the
taking the
mill?
mill.
Who, and that's not a player. Well, actually,
I'd like
Yeah.
to say the premiership wins so I can dine out on it for the rest of my life, but neither of you would believe me, so there's no point.
I think it.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go, Joey.
Oh no, my other question was going to be to you, Connor. Do you think that the Bulldogs are making a mistake by signing Galvin?
Well, yes, because I think it's 50-50 because I do believe Lachlan Galvin would be a better player than say Toby Sexton.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't know how Sexton is, but at
yeah,
least Galvin's probably got more years, to
yeah,
go, and can develop a lot.
yeah,
If I was Bulldogs, I probably wouldn't have signed him this year. I think it's just going to also disrupt what they're doing over there, and they've been doing so well. So, as you said before, why fix something that's not broken?
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I agree.
but
Yeah.
then they could put him in straight away, and Galvin and the Bulldogs could shut us all up.
Yeah.
They could, that's possible. I kind of agree with you on that one because sometimes it is a bit of a case of wait and see, but then sometimes you might not necessarily have the most decorated player or elite player out there, but because the momentum of the team is going so well and they are on top of the ladder at this point, who's to say that they can't win the premiership with a halfback that's not elite? We've
Yeah,
seen it before. We saw it with the Cronulla Sharks and Chad Townsend. As good a player as he is, I wouldn't say he is completely elite.
definitely not. Definitely not, Joey. But yeah,
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah,
To be honest, I hope the best for the kid. I
yeah,
don't think I think most of this he was a puppet to Isaac Moses. I think he's copping all the backlash, and Isaac's sitting in the back laughing, probably getting the percentage and loving it. Um,
yeah. Because that
yeah,
was going to be my next question to you. Like, do you think at 19 Galvin's decision came from him, or do you think there were outside influences at play? But
yeah.
you mentioned his manager, Isaac Moses. Do you think it was primarily him, or do you think there was someone else or other people at play?
It is hard to say, but I want to say that it was mostly Isaac Moses. I feel like if there was no bad blood there, why would Gavin want to leave the Tigers, who gave him a opportunity, gave him his first grade games, and yes, being poor, but you could see the Tigers on the rise. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? Being young, do something for your name, as Luai's doing from coming to the Panthers to Tigers. But then again, it could be Gavin being hungry and young and wanting that premiership, thinking I'm not going to get it here, because I think there was words that either him or Isaac Moses said his development won't get better under Benji Marshall, and yeah, that it's fair to say, but it's hard
Yeah.
to put who made this decision.
Because I'm really split on this whole thing because I just sort of see it, and I don't think anyone can argue that from the Bulldogs' perspective, this is a purchase purely based on potential rather than somebody who is proven
Yeah.
and the real article. And for me, that's where the real gamble lies. They've
Yeah,
It's such a good trajectory, and I just think people are forgetting he's only 19. So they see
yeah,
plenty of potential. He might be a child prodigy and all that, teen prodigy, but he's very, very, very far from proven.
Mm.
oh, agreed. Like I said, we spoke about some of his stats before, and none of them really. The only stat that blows me out of the park is 24 try assists in 31 games. Other than that, he hasn't really showed us much. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's just hope.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just hope. Show something at the Bulldogs, and that doesn't stuff his career up. But then on the other side, sucked into his manager if it was him pulling the strings.
Yeah. 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 Have you got any thoughts, Jules?
What's the name of the bloke go to the Knights from Thingo?
From
Oh,
Knights.
Dylan Brown.
Parramatta.
Dylan Brown.
Yeah.
Dylan Brown.
Who's more potential out of these blokes?
Oh, I think Dylan Brown's got some years on Galvin. Doesn't he, Joey? Probably 8
Yeah,
years old
yeah,
or
he
something.
absolutely does. So Brown's been around for quite a while now, and I believe he's getting towards his late 20s now. So I think if
But
you
wasn't
spoke
he
to
for
most,
10 years, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you would,
That's ridiculous, that deal, right?
oh, it is, and I think if you'd speak to most people, I'd say Dylan Brown might be around 26 or 25, whereas Uh, Lachlan Galvin's
Galvin.
only 19, and I think if you spoke to most people, like the people in the inner sanctum of rugby league, they'd probably tell you that Lachlan Galvin has more potential than
Yeah,
Brown. We've
yeah,
seen a lot more of Brown over the years. He's good, he's solid, he does a good job. I wouldn't say he shoots the lights out as an elite player,
yeah,
but most people would say Galvin, but as we've seen before in rugby league and in all sports, sometimes the most highly touted athletes and people don't pan out as advertised on the tin to what people think they might eventually be.
yeah,
And you've seen with these 10-year contracts and deals, Jason Tamalolo, I think was David Fafita also one.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just go to shit, really.
yeah,
Um, Tamalolo
Yeah.
was nowhere to be seen for the past 10 years after his up and coming years. David Fafita, I don't even think he's making first grade anymore. I think he wants out of the Titans. So is that going to happen to Dylan Brown? Most likely. It doesn't
yeah.
look good for him. I think it's just ridiculous putting
They
10
get
years on a contract
halfway
to
in their
someone.
life, like serious. If you think of players, right, that have a 10-year career, it is not being funny, it is 1% of players, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, it
Like
doesn't happen
like
often.
it sounds like a lot, but it isn't because there's that many players that average, you know, you know, 8 games or something. So, maybe it happens a bit more in the backs and the forwards and stuff, but honestly, like it is knife edge on knife edge. It'd be less than 1% of people make 10 years. It really would be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're probably right. But what you tend to find the problem with these 10-year deals is for the first 4 or 5 years, some of these guys can be really great
Yeah,
and live up to their potential. Problem is, for the next 5 years, they can be coffering and spluttering their way to the finish line. And
yeah.
then you're left with somebody essentially with like a second contract, even though it's in the one contract. And by that stage, they're nowhere near what they were before for the first 5 years.
yeah.
Yeah, you look at a lot of great players and, how many players' primes go for 10 years? Not
Yeah.
many, if
None.
any.
No.
Like, you know what I mean?
Tell a
So
scribe. Yeah.
you just, I think, yeah, they should stop that, I think, the NRL. Maybe put a limit on how many years to sign a player because I think it does ruin players.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And I just see, and that's the problem though. I think there's also more incentive sometimes for players when they're not given such a huge contract because then they've got to work for the next contract.
yeah,
They're sitting
Exactly
back
right.
there thinking, I've got oodles of cash for the next 10 years. They can not only become complacent, but when their form does hit a lull, they're not worried
yeah.
anymore because they're like, well, poor buggers have got me for the next 10 years.
Yeah, it doesn't
You're going to
matter.
pay me out anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
You
think
know,
that's
you
what
could,
you've also seen with like David Fafita. He'll have one game good here and there, and the rest is just terrible.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's not putting in like he used to. He
Yeah,
had a fight with Des Hazard and told him to get stuffed, and he didn't
yeah,
care because he's like, well, all right, I'll play Queensland Cup. I'm still on $1 million a year. I can spend
yeah.
my training sessions at the pub or at the Caxton Hotel
I've
while
heard they're
you
trying
guys
to
are having
offload
a sit
him.
up. Huh?
I've heard they're trying to offload him, but how many years is left on his contract that you're going to have to, back pay him on? That's what kills clubs. You either
Yeah.
deal with a spoilt player or spend millions of dollars getting them out of their contract.
Yeah. Well, I actually think, because one of my other questions, and I think you answered it earlier, is, do you think the Tigers now are in a better situation in hindsight with the departure of Lachlan Galvin?
Okay, we do have some backups instead of him in Latu Fainu, and if you watch the game on the weekend, Heath Mason, which on the
Yes.
weekend, I've seen Heath Mason play fullback a bit, and it was
Mhm.
okay. But I've seen him in the halves when he actually got the hold of the footy and ran it a bit. He actually wowed me, and the same as Latu Fainu. I really like them both, so I do think we're in okay hands with them two,
Yeah.
whichever one Benji chooses. I think we will be fine with the development that would happen. And we just need to get all this bullshit away from us. Get back to playing footy, really.
Yeah, because you guys got Latu Finau from Manly, and
Yes, the
I
three of
wanted,
them.
yeah, the three brothers, the Finau brothers, and the one that we kept, we
Yeah,
got rid of Coruscant for because we thought that he was a great future prospect. What does he do in the off season? Stabs someone and goes to jail. Welcome
yeah.
to Buddy Manly.
We definitely got the three
And
good ones, and all
10
still
minute
young as
warning,
well.
guys. 10-minute
Yeah,
warning. 10
no
minutes.
There you
worries.
go.
All
All
right.
good.
Beautiful. But
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah.
I do think the Tigers are on the up. You look at last year, we only got 6 wins all year, and this year
Mm.
we're already on 5.
yeah.
I think most of our losses this year, bar from 2,
Yeah.
we really should have won. The 2 floggings were against Broncos and Storm.
Yeah.
Um, both on those days we just looked like little boys against men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then our other 4 losses, where we just lost, it's just small like bits in the game where we shoot ourselves in the foot, and
Yeah.
it's exactly what we done on the weekend against Cowboys. 2 sin bins in the first half, which just killed
Yeah.
us. We conceded 4 tries.
Mm.
Well, 2 tries every time someone got Dewey and Luai got sent off, and if you don't concede those 4 tries, the outcome's probably a lot different. So I think discipline wise, if we get that on board, we're going to look dangerous. And if we stick to playing touch footy, which I like to call it, where we move the ball around, we're one of the best to watch. As at the end of that game on the weekend, you've seen we're doing it, and we're just putting Cowboys to shreds.
Mm.
But yeah, but what I hate is the disciplinary issues. You think would come from the kids, but the 2 sin bins are from Luai and Dewey, who are supposed to be part of our leadership group. And
Yeah.
it just makes me sick. Like, you're supposed to be teaching these kids not to do this, but Luai's there, holding the tackle for no reason, and Adam Dewey knocking someone off the ball on a run when you know there's the bunker. You know they're going to see it.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like the teacher mucking up instead of the student.
Exactly right. And yeah, it's just not a good look. But I do say if we get all that together, and play good footy, we'll come close to the 8. I don't think we will get there this year, and I'll be honest. At the start, I did think, hey, there's a chance. I just think there's a little bit more to do at the club,
Yeah.
and then hopefully next year we start heading for
Okay.
the finals.
Who's more likely to make, my last question, who's more likely to make the 8? Tigers or Panthers?
Oh, you know what? I don't think either of them will, but I think the Tigers will give it a red hot shake.
Yeah.
I, you
Red
know,
hot underdogs, aren't they?
I don't
Yeah,
want to
they
go
are.
against I don't want to go against Buster, but I might say Penrith only because they've made and won the grand final the last 4 years in a row, and you'd be a brave man to count them out of anything. For the record, I don't think they're going to make the semis,
Yeah.
but by the same token, we've seen what's happened the last 4 years, and I can't rule them out of making the semis. That
They
said,
got
if they do make the semis, I don't think they'll last long.
they got Canberra in Canberra this weekend, right? We got to do the
Yeah, I
do you want to do the tips? We'll do next week.
I
Yeah,
think they'll burn up too many fuel tickets before they get to the semis. I reckon we pass the tips over to our special guest,
we will. Okay.
Buster Bonanova.
But I will
Great.
answer Jules's question quickly before we go there. If
Yeah.
I had to pick one, no bias, I will choose Tigers.
Yeah,
Just
me
watching
too.
Panthers
Yeah.
just watching Panthers this year, they're just a whole different team. I think there's a lot of, they all used to come through playing together, and I don't think they have that anymore, and they need to rebuild as well. Where I think Tigers have the players in their squad now where if they get clicked into it, they can go on a little run and get in there.
And
You can
Tigers
actually
have 12
see the
points.
growth
Yeah.
and the improvement of the Tigers. You
You can.
really can. I
It's
do
just
agree with seeing the
the
green shoots are there.
the
Yeah,
small things that need to be changed, and we'll be
yeah,
there.
Round
beautiful.
14, Thursday night, Buster,
Yep.
in Newcastle, Newcastle Knights versus Manly Sea Eagles.
Okay. I am gonna go with Manly Sea Eagles, but you guys kill me
Yeah.
because when I do tip yous, you go no good, and when I don't tip yous, you do what you done on the weekend against the Bronx.
The
I
most frustrating team in the entire rugby league to tip for.
I
Agree.
gotta
agree.
beat
I agree.
you gotta beat bloody Newcastle. They're rubbish, right? Okay, the next
Oh,
one I think will be good too. Storm in Melbourne against Cowboys.
I'm gonna take Storm in Melbourne.
Storm to
Yeah,
beat,
just
yeah,
a little bit more
they're the
professional
favourites.
in Melbourne. Hard to beat.
Okay, and later that Friday night, this will be a good one. The Finns, Dolphins against the Dragons.
Ooh, that is a tough one. I will take. Oh, I want to take the Dragons.
I'm really enjoying the Dolphins this year, you know.
I
Yeah, they're
do.
enjoyable to watch.
It's
They
just
They're
they're
really
a hard
are.
team to tip
camera,
too.
Yeah.
and I told Drew before I went up to Sunshine Coast, and it's just everywhere. And this new team has worked so well, you know.
Oh, they have.
Wearing hats, tracksuits, pajamas, just they're wearing them out at Sunshine Plaza, wherever you go. All right, next one. Saturday, 5:30, Sharks Stadium, Sharks versus the once were
Warriors.
still are Warriors.
Once were. I'm going to choose Warriors. I think they're so dangerous this year. Luke Metcalf's been doing well over there.
Sharks
Yeah.
are
I'll take them. Sharks are another one. You know, they're either hit or miss.
favorite.
And I think Warriors have just been too consistent. I think they'll take it out. It's going to be close.
You know, this is exciting, this one, okay? Because I like Queensland when they play each other, Queensland teams. Broncos versus the Titans. A Titans still a basket
Oh,
case because Broncos would have won one from seven or eight
yeah.
teams.
They haven't been great. Oh, look, I mean, I'm not going to speak on behalf of Buster, but
You go.
I still see the Titans as a team that just can't get over the hump more often than
Yeah,
not. But over to you, Bust.
agreed. A tough one. Broncos. Who knows what you're going to get from them? But I'm actually going to go the Titans in
Yeah.
that one. I've seen, as Julie likes to say, some green shoots against Melbourne Storm this weekend. And I think they'll get over the line.
Yeah, sorry, I was wrong before I said that, Panthers are playing Raiders in Canberra. It's actually Bunnies are playing
Okay.
Raiders in Canberra.
Canberra all the way.
It's going to be cold. It's winter. First day of winter, guys. Welcome to winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Pinch
Awesome.
punch the first day of the month, should we?
Yeah.
Look forward to all that middle-age arthritis. Bloody beautiful.
2 minutes, 40 seconds. Raiders,
Okay.
Bunnies. Who do you reckon, Buster?
Raiders. Too big, too fast, too strong, the Raiders this year.
Okay, look, they're fourth on the ladder. I thought they were higher
Yeah.
than that. So
They're
look,
going
I
all
think
right.
dogs,
I think
dogs
they've
first.
I think they've lost to the teams above them. But yeah, they're outside backs and forwards. They're a dangerous team as well this year, Raiders.
Yeah, they are. Surprise packet. Surprise table this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely top eight. Are they going to hold on to that top four? I reckon so. Okay,
I think
all
so as
right.
well.
Here you go. This is the match of the weekend. 4 o'clock on a Sunday. Where else would it be? But Combank Stadium,
Tigers versus
versus
Panthers.
Panthers.
You know what? I'm
Favourite.
gonna take the boys.
Come on, I
After
really want Tigers to win that. I really
Good man. I'm going to want Tigers to win
Yeah,
for
after this
Buster
episode,
too.
Let's go.
I mean, Benji's a legend. Let's face it.
Yeah.
He's a
Yes,
legend.
he is.
People like Tigers, they've been shit for years, and they're doing well. Leichhardt Oval, there's so many things to like the Tigers.
There is.
All right, let's
I
go
think
the three-way Tiger touch.
Get the
Yeah.
claws out. Claws out
Yeah,
for the
the
boys,
claw.
Joey.
Pull
Right.
out the claw. Yeah, that's the
What
go.
about a Monday night? Has there been a lot of Monday night games?
No, there hasn't. But Tigers somehow always the last game of the week. and it kills me because I'd rather rip the Band-Aid off at the start.
Yeah, that's true.
Monday is a public holiday.
Oh,
Could
is it
be.
the King's birthday this week?
Hang
I
on.
think so.
I don't know. Listen, we're red hot underdogs. We don't know anything about dates or holidays.
Exactly
So
right.
we could be right, we could be
Tomorrow,
wrong.
but
I'm not
next
going to make a
Monday-
prediction on the date or the day.
Next Monday, it must be a public holiday. Look,
Yeah,
birthday,
King's birthday. See,
South
Yeah,
Wales.
well done, fingers. You've done
Big-
well.
big up the King Charles and Elizabeth. Is she still going?
Yeah,
and the
I'd-
Dragons and the Knights.
She's dead, I think. Yeah, it's the King's
Oh.
birthday. That's right.
There you go.
Shout out to her, though.
Not my king. Anyway, look at this. Bulldogs versus Eels. Who's going to win, Connor?
Oh, doggies, it's been good. It will be close though. Parramatta turned it around in the past couple of weeks, and they're looking a little bit dangerous.
Yep, they beat man.